I guess we'll start with Acosta. He a couple of double plays, gets out of a few jams. Then in that fourth inning, I don't know, would he just run out of steam a little bit?
Well, a combination. I mean, he's pitched so good, and
Yeah.
and tonight, he was off his game a little bit, but boy, he pitched out of a couple. I mean, runner at third and nobody out. You assume they're going to score, but he found a way to get out of it twice. But then the third time he got bit, and I think he was trying to get out of that one and was within an out of doing it, and he made one bad pitch and left a change up, let her high, and the guy whacked it off the wall. To give them the lead, and then from that point on, and this is something that he's got to get through, because at 24, the only blemish in Acosta's character is that when things don't go right for him, whether it be an umpire's call or he makes a bad pitch, he tends to dwell on it and I don't want to say give up, but he loses his focus, which is in a sense giving up, because the next two pitches, the next two hitters were ridiculous. I mean, the ball was right up here, and they were both hammered. And fortunately, Conforto made a great throw to minimize the damage, because we could have been taken out of the game, and that we were still in position. But that's the immaturity that he's got to work through. Because he's not going to be perfect every time out, and he's got to learn that you got to keep competing, because you never know. I mean, we were only in the fifth inning. I mean, there's a lot of time for our team to come back. And I thought, Villasmeal and Griffin both did a good job keeping the game within reach. And it just, we've been swinging the bats good, and tonight, other than Conforto, he kept his inning streak going. Urania got a blue pit, but at least it kept his streak going. And it was nice to see Moore get 2 hits. But as a team, we just didn't do a whole lot tonight. Our big opportunity came right in the first inning, and unfortunately, Moore got 2 good hits tonight, but we didn't get one when we had a chance to maybe get on the board early. So we got Oswald tomorrow, and we'll just come back and try to regroup again tomorrow. He's done terrific. Yeah, and I'll tell you, the reports on him, were adequate defensively, and we're seeing way beyond that. The play that he made to finish off the game last, it was obvious we were going to win, but with a 5-run lead, for the way that he went after that ball and came up right away throwing to second base, not knowing that the guy's even going, and throwing a strike and getting him out, and then tonight shutting down what could have been a big inning with a real good throw tonight. I mean, that throw had some distance to it. So he's throwing better and playing defensive better than I think people gave him credit for. And he takes a lot of pride in his game, and his at-bats have just been terrific. Right from day one. And we keep, Benny and I keep preaching to the rest of the guys that they can learn from him, both in BP and in the games, in his pitch selection. Because we have way too many guys, and the focus tends to be on Bernal because of all the strikeouts. But Michael is a reflection of a lot of the other guys. They swing at pitches out of the strike zone that if they take them, they would get themselves ahead of the count and get better pitches to hit. And that's what Conforto does. Our other guys will swing at a first pitch breaking ball that is a borderline strike at best, and either make an out or get behind the count and look bad doing it. So then they're totally confused on what the pitcher's going to do from that point on. Where Michael will patiently take anything that's not right where he wants it and eventually work the count into his favor, and then get a pitch that he can really whack. And certainly the double that he rocketed into the right field corner, that was just a great swing. And he took a strike in doing it. But it was a pitcher's strike that was on the outer part of the plate that he didn't like. But when he got one that he did like, he jumped on it. And it goes in BP. He's the same way in BP. He does not swing at pitches that he doesn't like in BP. And I'm constantly, when I throw batting practice to our hitters, they're swinging at everything I'm throwing. And I said, some of those pitches are strikes, but they're strikes that are better for me as a pitcher than for you as a hitter. So if you're doing it in practice, the chances are you're going to continue to do that in a game. your pitch selection starts with BP. And it's a constant effort to train these guys to do that so that they don't just give at-bats away. And the one guy that is really taken to heart what we're talking about right now has been Tomas Nido. And I know he didn't get a lot, he didn't get any hits to show for it tonight, but he hit a rocket line drive right at the right fielder. Earlier this year, Nido would give at-bats away by swinging at bad pitches, and now he's really battling through it. So it's good to see that kind of progress, even if it doesn't show up in the box score. I see it.
Do you think when it comes to swinging at bad pitchings and picking what you're swinging at, does that come with maturity and experience, or is it more so a natural sort of?
Well, with Conforto, I've only known him for the 10 days that he's been with us, but I got to believe it's probably something that he started at an early age, because for a 21-year-old, he is miles ahead of most guys I see come into professional baseball, and that was his reputation coming here. He's exactly what we were told, except, as I mentioned, he runs, throws, and fields better than people gave him credit for. I mean, the whole focus on him was with the bat, and everybody is seeing a more complete player here. I mean, this is 2 assists in 2 nights, and doing a good job in left field. So, yeah, he brings a lot to the team, and it's disappointing that we got beat tonight with a cost of normally throwing so good, but hey, he was off his game a little bit tonight, and we just have to regroup tomorrow.
So I'd like to focus on the hitting has gone from, let's say, a malaise, and it's improved, and now it's improved, and it's a little inconsistent, but it's there. And I'd like to focus on 2 guys that brought you to where the team is at, and that's Urena and Katz. I'd like to speak about their improvement and their offense contribution to the team.
Urena has been a constant the whole season. I mean, he had a 13-game hitting streak. Now we're at 11. So that's, if my math is right, that's 24 of the 42 games that he has hit consecutively in. He hasn't had too many offers, and every day I look at the stats, his average has always hovered right between 3 and 310. So he's been very consistent, and it's a credit to him as a 19-year-old to be doing so well in this league. And he's also leading our team in walks. So he's not at Conforto's level yet, but he's certainly at 19 on the pace to be a guy that can discern a ball from a strike. And, he's done very well. Michael Katz has been, he's provided a big impetus to this team since he joined us out of the draft, because he's consistently been in the 280, 290 range. He's driven in some runs. He'd be the first to tell you his strikeouts are too high, but that's going to be a transition from college to professional baseball. He's shown that he can hit the ball the other way. I think, along with Bernal, sometimes he gets a little too pull conscious on the nights he sees the wind blowing out and forgets about going the other way, and that probably lends itself to a couple strikeouts. But and he's been a very, very good first baseman. We've been very, very happy with his defense and his run production, and I think he'll only get better because he's got great work habits.
Do you think Section 16, the Cat's Corner, has influenced him any?
Yeah, he's got his fan club out here, and no, he's a very motivated guy. I mean, he's one guy that on his own, he comes virtually every day to get extra batting practice. So I mean, he's taken it very seriously, and he wants to take his game to a higher level. He's very frustrated that he hasn't hit his first pro home run yet, and we keep telling him, hey, that'll. I was with Derek Lee was our first round pick when I was with the Padres, and I mean, Derek hit whatever it was, 300 and something home runs as a big league player, but at 6'5", 180 when he signed, if I remember right, I think he only hit 1 his first year and maybe 3 the second. And I told him, I said, hey, you'll be hitting at least 20 every year, so don't worry about it, And the same thing with Katzy. We know he's got power, and it'll show itself in time. He just has to be patient.
With Bernal, how do you think you could get him from striking out to maybe a little bit more consistent with the hitting?
Well, we're closing in on 150 at bats, and that's a very good question. And we're going to take some of the pressure off Michael starting tomorrow by starting him against left-hand pitching, where the ball is coming into him rather than going away, because the strikeout pace that he's on, which is near 50% of his at-bats, is I've never seen anybody in my tenure striking out at the ratio that Michael has. And he works hard. The poor guy just, for whatever reason, is just having a very tough time realizing that right field is okay to get hits out that way too. So we're going to take some of the pressure off of him, and the benefactor of that initially will be Will Fulmer. Although he's a second baseman, he has experience in the outfield, and so I think we'll see Will start playing and getting some more at bats and playing time in the outfield, and until we can get Tushak and Deal healthy again, and kind of platoon Michael to take some of the pressure off him and see if he can't have more success, and bringing him off the bench against left-hand pitching to see if that's the only thing that we can do as a staff to cut down on these strikeouts and try to get his confidence going in the other direction.
And to finish it up with the hitters, I'm looking at the stats here, and Rosario was tickling 300 at 298.
Well, he's been consistent all year long too. I mean, yeah, he's been in the 280, 290 range. He's in the midst of a 9 or 10 game hitting streak right now himself, but he got a hip pointer in the game last night, and is probably going to be out for certainly again tomorrow and maybe Sunday as well. So I mean, it won't be long term, but short term. And fortunately with Ponce, he plays such great defense. We're fine on the defensive end. We just wish that Demas could contribute a little bit on the offensive side.